Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Back here with a new series. This is going to be a very long-running series, very on and off. Um, but I'm going to kind of show you guys a project that's been in the works for quite some time. Still many years uh, ahead. But kind of show you guys something that I'm pretty passionate about and what I grew up with as a child and what kind of really got me into model railroading, rail fanning, and actually just railroading in general. So, just kind of a short story. I grew up in Pontiac, Michigan. Spent a lot of time around Pontiac, Detroit, surrounding areas. Um, and at the time, the railroad there was Grand Trunk Western. Um, and shortly after CN, the CN takeover, uh, in Pontiac, Michigan, there was a large auto. Um, what's the word? Uh, there was a large auto manufacturing presence in Pontiac back in those days. Um, Sadly, nowadays Pontiac is basically like a former shell of itself. There is still some auto industry there, not a lot. Um, but something that I spent a lot of time around as a kid was something called the Pontiac Beltline. Um, and then I have track maps and other maps of kind of the local area, and I'll even set my laptop up and kind of show you guys on Google Earth kind of the layout. But I grew up in that area when Grand Trunk was still a thing, and I remember seeing this railroad as a young child. Loved it from the start. This railroad is what basically started my passion for railroading. Loved watching the trains. I loved watching the auto industry cars. Uh, some of these bigger 89-foot parts box cars that you guys see in the background, and auto racks and stuff like that. Um, and but anyway, the area that I spent my most of my time was around the Pontiac Belt line. It was a combination of a couple branch lines that Grand Trunk purchased, and in earlier years built on to become what was called the Belt Line. Basically, it was just a line that capped off Pontiac from other railroads. Grand Trunk wanted all of the industries there, especially the auto industries. So they devised the branch line to basically control the whole of Pontiac. And it made for some really cool areas, like you guys will see in coming up videos, or upcoming videos. Um, there was a lot of yards. There was a lot of auto industries. There were, of course, other industries, but the auto industry was big. Um, More specifically, General Motors. General Motors had quite a few large facilities um, just north of Pontiac, downtown Pontiac, and then a little ways north of downtown. Uh, some of you who do follow like Michigan railroading, or some of you that may be from Michigan, know about the auto industries that are still surviving. Um, there's an assembly plant that's a little ways north of downtown Pontiac that is actually getting some revived rail service too, which is pretty exciting. But back in the day, these were pretty large industries that took up most of the railroading in that city. And so I really enjoyed watching a lot of that get moved around by Grand Trunk Western. Um, Uh, I'll get more into some of the specifics when I have some maps in my laptop out to show you guys. So that way I can really kind of visually show you uh, where I spent some time and what I was watching. Um, but this is going to be basically a series on rebuilding my childhood. Eventually, like I think I've talked about in other videos, is the larger part of my living space downstairs here that you guys have seen in past videos, actually in some of my horn videos. That eventually is going to be a large layout. That's going to be a huge layout room. It's going to spill over into my workshop here. But I am going to model the Pontiac Beltline, very specifically the Pontiac Beltline. There's a lot of railroading in Pontiac that wasn't the Beltline. Pontiac has a large yard. Used to be a lot more going on there. It's kind of a boneyard nowadays. There were other various auto industries. Like I said, GM had a lot more of a presence there than what they do nowadays. But basically, I'm going to do my best to recreate the stuff that I enjoyed as a kid. My era for modeling is going to be kind of mid 80s to late 80s. Now, when I had originally started this project, I was going to model that area, but I kind of had the fun idea of doing a freelance railroad, kind of coming up with my own name, my own power and paint scheme, and kind of, I don't want to say wasted, but in a sense, yes, I wasted some years and some money on trying to come up with that, and then basically one day it just kind of hit me when I was having a really hard time trying to figure out what I wanted for power wise, if I wanted certain types of locomotives and stuff like that. That was a huge headache for me to try to figure all that out, and it just kind of ended up where I came to the realization that I should really just model what I saw, what was there, and the stuff that I enjoyed, and not try to make some type of fantasy freelance out of it. So that is why you guys see a bunch of Grand Trunk power out here. Some of this I bought last year. This year I have bought a lot more. Still quite a bit on the way currently as I'm doing this video. So I think as stuff comes in, I'm going to start doing some unboxing videos on some of that. Talk about, like I said, I'll get maps out and Google Earth and set up my phone nicely. I do have an actual phone stand now where I can set up my phone and go both hands on. So make some better videos for you guys in that sense, and be able to show you a little bit more. But basically gonna kind of take you guys on a very long journey of rebuilding my childhood and what I enjoyed as a kid, what really got me into the hobby, into the railroading. So I'm definitely excited to share that with you guys. It's kind of been something that I haven't really talked too much about. I know I did a little bit of my freelance power on this channel here and there, not a whole lot. Was kind of not showing too much on this project overall, just because I was just so up in the air about so many things, and it just wasn't working out, and I just could never make up my mind. So now that we are I have a very defined timeline, a very firm plan, and I'm actually modeling history now and not just history mixed with fantasy. It's all history. So I think that'll make for some better content for you guys to enjoy. And then eventually you guys will see me build a layout and kind of understand what I'm building, why I'm building it, and what it's all for. So, I think for now this will just kind of be an introduction into that. I'll kind of go over in this video what I have sitting here for power right now. You guys can see a lot of Grand Trunk stuff. I do have some DWP. That's the Duluth, Winnipeg, and Pacific. They kind of swapped power around a lot with Grand Trunk, so I snagged a couple of those units a few years ago. I got those. Those are Athearn RTR, and they're the nicer RTR that have the DCC and sound. Everything for this project is going to be DCC and sound. The layout will be DCC layout. You guys have seen other locomotives that I have DCC and sound that I'll be able to just kind of throw in and play with on there. But for the most part, this will be very accurate timeline, very accurate area, specific locations, specific industries on this layout and stuff like that. But like I said, the layout itself is quite a ways off. Honestly, probably quite a few years. But like I said, every now and then I'll kind of bring this series back onto the channel and kind of update you guys as I make some progress here and there. Whether it's just buying some rolling stock, buying some locomotives, whatever it may be, we'll do some documenting on it, just that way me and my family can even look back at the videos and kind of see what I started with for the project. You guys can see some various rolling stock out here. The industries on my future layout are mainly going to be auto industries. But of course there is going to be other things, such as steel industries, grain, and scrapyard, stuff like that, stuff that was actually in the area on the line. I'm not modeling anything fantasy anymore. I'm not going to try to devise any plans or anything like that. I am solely focused on modeling what was there, what I saw as a kid. So it's going to be very specific stuff, very specific era, and I'm going to do my best to not jump outside of that. Even when I had started this whole idea with my fantasy railroad plan, I was very uncertain about my timeline. I was kind of doing a more open-ended timeline, basically from early 80s all the way up to early 2000s, which left a lot going on, honestly. So basically now I'm trying to keep it from like mid-80s to early 90s. There's going to be some stuff that kind of conflicts with the mid to late 80s, and there's going to be some stuff that kind of conflicts with the early 90s, but that stuff is going to fight within itself. So I am really trying to keep it within that, just stuff that covered within that time frame. Just that way I can enjoy some things that might have been different paint schemes here, or different stuff running at that time. Mid 80s to early 90s kind of gives me that perfect window of the stuff that I saw, the stuff that I grew up with, and can enjoy. So you guys will be able to kind of go along with all that. And like I said, once I show you Google Earth, once I show you some maps and some stuff, you guys will really start to see the area that I'm modeling, why I'm modeling it, why I enjoyed it so much as a kid. But like I said, we got some power sitting out here. I have a my one and only Rapido locomotive, is the 1512. That is also, of course, DCC and sound. Everything you see here is DCC and sound. That's just how it's going to be. No ifs, ands, or buts on that. I did buy one locomotive that did not have DCC and sound, but I have DCC and sound for that locomotive. So I'm doing my best to buy all this stuff with DCC and sound just to make life easier for me and not have to go back and take care of some of that stuff. We also have a GP9 4433. This is a what was it? Walther's Proto. So nice stuff. I love Walther's Proto. I have Union Pacific stuff from Walther's Proto. This was my first Grand Trunk Walther's Proto locomotive, and I have 4 more on the way, so pretty excited about that. I have the rest of everything else is either Athearn. These 4 units here, the 3 GP40s and the GP38-2, those are Athearn Genesis. The 2 SD38s are Athearn. What is it? It's not RTR. It's like the step above RTR. I can't remember it right now. But same thing for those. Everything's DCC and sound really nice. I'm not going to get into really weathering anything. I've weathered stuff in the past, and it's cool, but I know it does add a level of realism. But me personally, I'm kind of in that phase in life where I'm kind of over the whole weathering thing. I feel like, yes, it does add realism, but at the same time, you kind of ruin a real pretty paint job. And I love this paint scheme. This paint scheme I grew up with. I love it. It's beautiful. It's pretty. So as of right now, I have no plans on weathering anything. And just keeping things nice and shiny and pretty. So, but like I said, I have a lot more power on the way. I have some really cool DT&I GT patch stuff coming. Like I said, I have some more GP9s from Walther's on the way. A little bit of freight cars coming in. Kind of went on a buying spree the past couple weeks, so I'm getting a lot of stuff in. The stuff I kind of started out with was I got these 3 GP40-2s, and then I got those 2 DWP SD40-2s. Actually, I think those are just SD40s, if I remember correctly. Yeah, they're not -2s, they're just SD40s. I've had those for a little bit, like I said, but same thing with the Rapido SW1200. I've had that for a little while now. But my new additions are the GP9, the GP38-2, and the SD38s. So those are fairly new. Pretty excited about having growing this. I do definitely kick myself in the ass for not trying to start this earlier in years, especially when I was working for the railroad and I had a lot more money to throw at the hobby. I really wish I would have spent that more wisely and not towards so much other stuff that I have that I didn't really need at the time, but I just wanted because it was cool. But that's life. You know, you're not always going to make decisions that you like years from now. And it is tough when you are younger and you have a lot of money and you're into this hobby and you just kind of want to buy really cool stuff and you don't really have any specific path that you're taking. I honestly, when I started like actually getting more expensive, more nicer stuff in the hobby, at that time I didn't have this plan on modeling the belt line. I was just going to make some cool big layout that was just general areas that I came up with and nothing specific. And I kind of like having this plan more because I don't have to think about things quite so much. I know the area, I know industries that I need, I know this, I know that. So taking a lot of those variables away is nice. It kind of cleans up my brain space quite a bit. And then it's something that I love. It's something that a lot of younger people should consider. If you are a younger person and you're single and you have a good paying job and you can put a lot of money into the hobby, really think about what you want for the hobby in the future. You know, do you want just a not generic, but do you want just a layout that's, you know, nothing specific and you can just run whatever on? Or is there something that you're watching right now that's not going to be around in 10, 20 years, 30 years, however long, that you want to model? It's something I wish I would have thought of a lot earlier on. I've had a couple Grand Trunk Blue Box locomotives that didn't survive the years, you know, I really kicked myself in the ass for not just kind of putting those on a shelf and saving them. So trying to do a lot of redemption with this as well in my modeling, and trying to be more just more level-headed with how I'm spending my money, how what I'm putting it towards, and my plans going forward. So it's a big change for me. It's something that I really I'm happy about. I'm feeling good about, and it's going to be cool. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Sorry, it was kind of a long just talking video, but this is the official introduction into what I'm going to title Rebuilding My Childhood Grand Trunk Western Pontiac Beltline. I'll try to figure out the title here before I post the video, but this is going to be very specific stuff, and like I said, I will of course continue to show other model railroad stuff, not just this stuff, but this will be like I said, it's going to be a long-running series. So these videos are going to kind of be sprinkled in here and there, and just kind of go from there, and you guys will kind of be able to see me build this basically from the ground up. So like I said, I'm just very much getting into the nitty-gritty of planning. I have pretty much all the maps and photos that I need at my disposal now. That took quite a few years for me to kind of gather all that information. So there's been a lot of behind the scenes building up to this point. It's not like you know, just right this second I'm starting this project. This has been in planning for quite a while. It's just the railroad itself, me being a dummy and just not really thinking about it logically. You know, I should have started with Grand Trunk right away. Shouldn't have done the freelance idea. It was a cool idea. It was a fun idea, but it just didn't make sense for me doing a very specific area and a very specific time frame. Of course, I was going to have Grand Trunk be a part of that, but my freelance was going to be the bigger part, and it just like I said, it put too many variables up for me to kind of figure out, and this just makes more sense, and I'm going to enjoy it way more. So that's it for this video, guys. Like I said, sorry it's a lot of talking. I think my next video, I'm going to get some maps out and get my laptop set up and actually show you guys the locations and the areas, and kind of get into the history of the stuff. So hopefully you're excited for that. Hopefully you're excited to kind of follow along with me the next quite a few years on this journey. And yeah, that's it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Take care, and until next time, take care.